Hello, everyone, and welcome. We are so glad you are here today. I'm Felicia, and I'm here with Roxana, and today we are talking about something a lot of people deal with, but don't always feel safe talking about it: toxic behavior at work. Now, this is the blame session. We are not here to point fingers at leaders or employees. We are here to explore what really happens inside the teams, both the things you can see and things you can't quite not see. They're like hidden. We ask our network to send us questions, and today we'll be answering four of them. These came from employees who wanted to stay anonymous, and they reflect what a lot of people pretty much experience in different workplaces. If anything comes up for you while we are talking, just drop in the comments. We'll be watching the chat, and we'd love to bring your question or thoughts on screen and talk through them. Okay, this is an open and honest space, no judgment, just real talk based on what we've seen in the teams across like industries. Okay, so are you guys ready to jump in? I guess
Well,
so.
I should hope
Let's.
so. Like, let us know in the comments if you're
Okay,
ready.
so let's see the first questions. One of the senior team members often gives feedback in a really sarcastic way during the meetings, like, "Oh, great jobs. Next time, maybe you actually read the instruction." Everyone laughs, but it stinks. It's making me and others never to speak up. I don't want to sound too sensitive, but is this normal?
Hmm.
What do you think, Roxana?
Okay.
I
So
mean, this is a pretty
it
common.
is.
And people
It
feel
is.
like I want to be like funny, but funny?
But funny, but sarcasm isn't funny.
Yeah.
And I will say just because the question asks, is this normal? Uh, it's aggressive. Sarcasm is aggressive.
It is.
It's not irony because
Mm,
sarcasm is I'm making fun of you
mm,
instead of I'm having fun with you.
absolutely. Yeah.
So that's and it's it's funny. I was um, I was facilitating a workshop the other day, and we were
Mhm.
talking about difficult personalities. And usually when we think about toxic people, we think about difficult personalities. But that's where I say there's no one toxic person
Mm,
because it's all about what the system encourages, what the system allows for, what the system is
absolutely.
rewarding. And the system can be an organization, a family, a country, whatever organized system you can think about in which
Yeah.
involves more people, right? So when we think about toxic, we think
Mhm.
about difficult.
Yeah.
And we single them out. It's like it's that
Mm,
one person, and it's usually not just that one person because there are other behaviors that support that
yeah.
kind of behavior. And it's
Absolutely.
funny because so for example, in that workshop we were talking about the bully, who is a difficult personality and a very difficult
Mm,
kind of behavior. But we were also talking about people pleasers,
mm,
complainers.
absolutely.
And
Yeah.
we don't think about these kinds of personalities as difficult.
Mhm.
And why we say they're difficult is because they kind of go along with the difficult behavior at the team level, at the
Yeah.
organization level. They support one another.
Yeah.
So that's where, if you have a manager who gives you, first of all, that's not feedback, that's a sarcastic remark.
That's not feedback for sure. Yeah.
That's not feedback. Feedback is something that's helpful to you to either keep a behavior that works fine or
Mhm.
change a behavior that could improve. That's feedback.
Absolutely.
Feedback is
Yeah.
not sarcastic, is
Mm.
not just criticism for the sake of criticism. But we know this happens. You have someone who's more senior who says something that's
Yeah.
sarcastic or arrogant or first of all, that's aggressive. So you're not oversensitive about it. What you can do is, yeah, give feedback to your manager,
Yeah.
not in a group setting, but in a
Yeah.
one-on-one setting.
Absolutely.
One of the things that we know about, for example, bullies or people who display this kind of more
Mhm.
aggressive kind of
Yeah.
behavior, is they want to look good. They
That's
want
the
to,
thing because
you
other
know,
people laugh,
yes,
right? On their
exactly.
joke. So I
So,
know. Yeah.
but and that's a value thing, you know. I want to look good. I want to look like I'm in
Yeah.
control because these people
Yeah.
matter to me
Yeah.
and their impression of
I
me
know.
matters to me.
Yeah.
So when you give feedback to a person like that, you
Mm-hmm.
can say something like, when you give feedback to me like that, I think we
Mm-hmm.
look bad.
I know. I
And
know.
that's because that is something that they can relate to. Looking bad is not
Yeah.
something that they want. So they can, first of all, they can understand how that might make you look bad.
Mm-hmm.
And like immediately they think about, oh, wait a minute, that makes me look bad?
That.
How?
Yeah.
And it's like, well,
Yeah.
because other people might think, when am I going to get attacked?
I
What
know.
if it's me next time? So,
Absolutely.
and,
Yeah.
and ask for their help and say, look, the impact that has on me and on you is
Mhm.
that we look bad as a team. Well, I
That's
don't think
another thing. Absolutely.
you
Yeah.
know,
No.
I
For
don't think
sure.
you want
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I understand you have great
Yeah.
intentions and I thank you for
I
the
know.
feedback, but the way you delivered it doesn't help. So don't, in any case, don't defend yourself in that group setting. Just
Yeah.
take them aside and have that conversation. And a lot of the times we don't think that we
Mm.
can. I will
Mm-hmm.
say, try
Yeah.
try to have it, push to have that conversation if you want to avoid this thing
Mm-hmm.
happening over and over to you. I
Exactly.
don't know. Like, let me ask you, what have
No,
you
that's
seen
that's
that works?
amazing. That's amazing. And also, you said, yeah, talked in private, but then again, the joke was in a public, in a group.
Yeah.
So I learned a trick actually from Jefferson. I can't remember his first name, but anyway, he's so good. He's like a 6 million followers on Instagram. Anyway, he's so good. And he said when somebody is doing something like that, ask to repeat the same
Mm.
bully or sarcasm because they will actually hear exactly what they said and they'll feel bad. They'll feel bad. If you ask them, please, can you please repeat you just
Mhm,
said, like,
mhm.
the sarcasm. So, and like you said, maybe it's not even intentional. Maybe it's just the way they are. Maybe they are in the family, like in the family setting with friends, with like in the bar. I don't know, whatever. But I think they should be professional. And of course, if you're senior, we are not, you're the teacher and we are the students, or you're the parent and we're like, you have to treat people with respect, no matter what their position is. So
Exactly.
I,
I mean,
I, I, I I'm with you here, honestly. Like,
it's and it's funny because in the amount of times that people say, but look, if this is something that's always been done like that, and
mhm,
I'm the new person coming in the
that's the
organization,
thing.
and I'm a
Yeah,
bit timid
I
too. What do
know.
I do then? Well, like,
Yeah,
again, it's just,
I know.
but how do you want to start off that relationship? How do you
Mm,
want it to continue? Just think about it.
yeah,
It's all about it. Yes, you can't do that in a group setting where everybody feels like they have to laugh about
yeah,
it, but you can build your one-on-one
yeah.
relationships with people.
I know.
And the manager relationship is going to be an important one. So how do you want to, and it's a relationship, it's not just for the manager to build, it's also for you to build.
I know.
And typically with people who have that more aggressive behavior,
Mm.
is you, what you don't want to do is you don't want to minimize yourself.
Oh
You
no,
want to stand out for yourself, because
absolutely.
otherwise the less space you take,
Mm.
the more they overtake.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
it's like I've had instances where, yes, there were people who were more aggressive. They didn't even, and as you said, to
Mm.
your point, they didn't even realize this is how
Mm.
they were behaving, because that was their norm. It's like, that's how I am. I don't
I
even
know.
realize when I'm shouting or
I
when I'm
know.
too much. And just telling them, well, I can
Yeah.
see things are getting heated. Do we need a break? And they would
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
what? Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I was
I
shouting.
know.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to shout. Um, so sometimes it just
Yeah.
takes that. But
Yeah.
you want to think about what can you control of that
Mm.
relationship and what's important to you,
Mm-hmm.
because it's and more, some people will be more direct and they will
Yeah.
value honesty. Some
I
people will
know.
value the relationship. So what's the value there that you can connect to?
Mm. I also it's about the culture as well. We both
Exactly.
grew up in Romania, like a communism time, and that was the
Mhm.
norm. The
Yeah.
boss making fun of you in front of everybody else. Even in school, remember, the teacher will honestly criticize you in front of the entire class,
Hmm. Hmm.
or in the parents teacher whatever meetings. They will single out a parent and they will criticize their child in front of
Yeah.
everybody
Yeah.
else, and that was the norm back in the day in Romania, and that was
Horrible.
bad, like pretty bad. Like, can you imagine, like, this?
Oh my God. Now that
So
I
like
think
you'll
about
be
it,
like a parent, like you'll go
I
so down.
know.
Oh my
I
God, not again, not me. Like, I
didn't even
remember.
realize how traumatic that
It
actually
is. It
was.
is.
And but one of the things that, and I don't know about you, what was your, and now I'm curious, what was your comeback? Because for
Mm,
me, whenever that would happen, and that's how I ended up actually being a people pleaser, which is
oh yeah,
another problem. And it can be pretty,
I
the impact
know.
of that can be actually pretty toxic in some situations,
Absolutely, yeah.
because you want to please people so that they don't pick on you, so that they don't criticize you and don't,
Yeah, yeah.
in front of everybody else. But and that's where I also learned to come back from that, by laughing
Mm,
of, about me with
mm,
them and
yeah.
making, and that is just like, if you keep doing that, it
Yeah,
just puts you down
I know, I know.
completely.
And
It's like,
then
oh my God.
sets the tone, pretty
It
much.
does.
Sets the tone. Yeah. I want to. I'm seeing more people join today,
Okay.
and I want to just to let them know it's Felicia here and Roxana. Oh, I don't know why we
Oh,
don't see the
yes.
names. Oh, oh,
Who,
oh, oh, oh. Let
who
me
are
see. I
we?
did something wrong here. Participants' names.
There
Yes.
we
Okay.
are.
Sorry. I'm doing the technical piece as well here as well. So anyway, no, no, for sure. And I want people. I want to encourage you if you have any comments or question related to the toxic environment, and also toxicity. Sorry, is my English. um, is not necessarily very visible. Can be hidden. I work with cleaning companies, and for example, a cleaner is criticized by the customer, by the
Mhm.
client, but the manager is doing nothing. And that's, to me, it's a form of toxicity. I mean, you as a leader, you should be able to, I mean, I'm not cleaning your house to any cost. You should be, it's okay, don't
That
worry.
was me.
It's just you and me and everybody else.
Sorry, everybody else.
Yeah, so that's the problem. When we see toxicity, it's a little bit easier to address it. But if we do not see it, or like you said, sarcasm, oh, I was
Yeah.
just joking. It's not, but it's not really just a joke. It's not just. I don't like the just word, because it's not a just. It's what you do, and the ramification of how people they feel. And no wonder some people, I mean, Sunday afternoon they feel like, I don't want to go tomorrow to work,
Mhm.
because again, I will face my manager, I will face, and I don't want to be criticized, or I don't want, people to make fun of me, or my manager to make fun of me. So it's a little bit more than a joke. It's a
Mhm.
little bit more than a joke.
Yeah, it is. I mean, and that's
Yeah.
why it's like, it's important to just distinguish between
Yes.
when we're
Yes.
laughing together, and just notice, are we actually laughing together about the same
Yes.
topic or
Yes.
situation, or
Exactly.
are we
Yeah.
laughing at somebody,
Mm,
or are you guys laughing at me? And
I
because
know.
that's that's a sign. And that's
It
actually,
is.
that's aggressive. That's not even passive aggressive. Like sarcasm is aggressive
Mm.
behavior, and
And
that's
it's
it.
not acceptable,
No,
period.
exactly.
It's not
So
acceptable.
yeah.
Yes, I agree. Okay, another question. I work in a marketing team of about 10 people. It feels like one person is always getting the best projects,
Mm.
the boss attention, and all the credits. Even when we worked on something together, the rest of us starting to feel invisible and causing tension in the team. I don't want to steer drama, but it's getting hard to stay motivated. What should I do? Hmm. Okay.
Mm.
That's a really honest and relatable question. And thank you very much for putting it out there. And I'm pretty sure everybody at one point experienced one of these situations. And the truth is, this happens way more often than we talk about. You know, I work with cleaning companies, car dealerships, healthcare teams, and I see this pattern everywhere. For example, in the cleaning business, one cleaners always gets the luxury homes or the easier schedules for some reason.
Hmm.
In the dealership environment, I saw the same salesperson gets the best deals. Or the nurse in the healthcare gets always, they always gets chosen for the important task, while others are left to cover more difficult shifts. And we see it so often, unfortunately. Now, sometimes it feels personal, but honestly, often it's not that personal. It's just a habit. Leaders tend to, go with they know they can deliver quickly, or somebody who asks for more. Some people are more vocal, some people are more quiet or silent. And sometimes we have a word in an expression in Romania: the child who cries gets fed, something like, I don't
Yeah,
know how
yeah.
to
Uh-huh.
translate.
Yeah.
So I think it applies to work as well. So if you are vocal and say, hey, I want to do this, give me more
Mhm.
work, give me more projects, probably you get more. But there are people who are more quiet, but they're doing even like the same or even better job than the one they're like vocal. Well, but here's the problem. If there's no system, and you like system, and this is why I wanted to talk about the system, and I know
Mhm.
you work on systems. If there's no system to rotate opportunities or share credit fairly, it becomes unbalanced. And that tensions, my friend, grows, and it grows quietly. Let's see what solutions we have. And this is my suggestion. If you don't need to call it a favoritism or start a confrontation, that's the very first step. We don't have to start confronting people. And the great way to approach is by saying something like, I'd really love to take on something new or lead project, and I'm ready to grow and I want to contribute more. If you say something like this, you remind your manager that you are here and you are capable and you are paying attention as well. And it gives them a way to include you in without feeling attacked. Because that's the other thing, the way you talk to your manager, to your leader, you don't want to attack them. This is why I said confrontation is not necessarily a way. Um, and for the leaders, okay, if you are watching this is your moment to check the system, because sometimes we are so caught up in the day by day operations and we have no time, and we have a system in place, but it's there but we are not quite using. So two questions you can ask yourself: one, how are we deciding who gets what? And number two, do we keep going to the same person out of convenience? Because convenience, it's a word we're using so often right now. Everything is convenience these days. We get the Amazon package by the door. We want everything, in instant. It's probably the same with the managers. They work on a convenience way. If so, that's not favoritism on purpose, but it's favoritism in practice. So again, it's not necessarily it's intentional, but it's a practice. But the good news is can be fixed. So
Mhm.
that's the good news, right?
And I love what you said, because and I took some notes because I had so many ideas as you were talking.
Yeah.
But so one thing that stood out for me from what you said is, when you talk to your manager,
Mm,
but not from this confrontational perspective, from the
mhm,
perspective of, here's what I want, here's how I would love to contribute. That's a that's how you talk to yourself.
mhm.
Like, that's, you have to, it and there's a it's that switch that you're making.
Mhm.
Because it's one way to think that, my manager again,
Yeah.
they gave this to that favorite person of theirs, and they're
No.
completely, they don't even know that I exist, and they hate
Yes.
me, and
Mhm.
they want to make my life hell. Or just thinking about it,
Mm.
well, what am I assuming here? Do I know that they want to make my life hell, or am I assuming this? And if I
Yeah.
assume this, what does the benefit of the doubt sound like and look like?
Mhm. I
And
know.
it's like, oh, okay, so maybe I just need to tell them, hey,
Yeah.
I'm here and I'm
Yeah.
up for it, and I would love to contribute this way. So
And then
going on this, and it's not just positive thinking for the sake of positive thinking,
mhm.
but it's a positive spin that actually helps you let people
Yeah.
know what you would want to contribute. And the more
I
often
know.
you do that, the more visible you become, and they will appreciate that. Because
Yeah.
the other part is what you just said,
Yeah.
is like, why are you even doing this, or why
I
are we
know.
even doing this the
Yeah.
same way we've always done it? Is there a
I know.
better way? and
I
and
know.
you're helping them see a better way.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
absolutely love it,
Yeah.
because it's from two perspectives: how you're thinking of it, so that you can communicate it better,
Yes.
and then how you're helping your system, which is your immediate team,
Yeah.
look at, oh, what are the rules that we operate
Mm.
under? Are they still working for us, or
Yeah.
can we create better rules?
Yeah. And you should be an option, right? It's like I was in Mexico a couple of weeks ago, and I mean the food was amazing. But over and
That's the
over the
rule.
same food every day, same food. And I was like talking to my husband and say, I wish I can eat something else.
Yeah.
And then we
Mhm.
started talking with our neighbors on the, on the beach and say, well, we like the food, but see, it's every day the same. And then they say, hey, but they had more. Where I ask, well, if you ask them, they can cook anything for you. So I learned something. You have to ask. Just ask. Open your mouth and say,
Yeah.
hey, I want to do more. And I know I can do more. And you should present yourself as an option.
Yeah.
And yeah, because they cannot read minds, right? And then again, because not, I mean, if you're a good leader, you will know. You will know. I want to give, to have a balance, to give a chance to everybody, because you want to learn what other people can do.
Mhm.
And you can't learn if you don't give that person a chance to show it.
And also ask. I mean, and that's what I find that great leaders do, because you can't
Mhm.
know everything. Nobody knows everything all
No,
the time. But what you
I know.
don't know, you're going to ask and clarify, rather than assume that this
Hmm.
is what they're thinking, this is what they know, this is what they don't know. So,
Yeah.
but the same goes for the other way around. Like, if
Hmm.
I'm somebody who reports to my manager, I also want to know rather than assume. And that's why it's interesting. And it's one of those things that
Hmm.
people bring in coaching sessions all the time. It's like,
Hmm.
how do I do that? Because they do this and I know. And
Yeah.
the question is, do you know? No.
Yeah.
Is it 100% that you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the percentage of how
Hmm.
much you assume?
Exactly.
And what would that mean for you if you
Hmm.
clarified? How can you clarify
Hmm.
that? And
Yeah.
a bunch of times we
I
actually
know.
don't know. We just make the assumption because it's easier. Like,
I
yeah,
know.
it's
I
like,
know.
I don't have to ask. I don't have the conversation. I don't have to clarify.
I know. And then of course that salesperson in the dealership gets the more sales, more, and he
Yeah,
makes more money, and of course he's a star in the
yeah,
company.
yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah, yeah, people had no chance. So, okay, let's see. I was
Let's
checking,
see.
but I don't see any
No, and I was
questions or
actually gonna ask, like,
comments.
if people
Let
who
me,
are with us live, just give
yeah, just, you
let
know
us
what?
know what you've seen working for you. Put it in the comments, or what you've seen
Yeah, I
working
don't
for
see any
other
comments.
people.
So I just wanted to
You know,
make sure because sometimes I'm not getting the comments in the platform, but
yeah.
apparently people are just listening, which is great. Thank you so very much. Okay, let's see the next question. I've noticed my manager always giving feedback, good or bad. They are friendly, but when there's a problem, they just go quiet or change the topic. It's confusing because I never know where I stand. I want to do better at work, but I need clarity. How do I even bring this up without making it awkward?
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
And that's, you see, that's exactly what I meant by, we think about toxic people as those
Mm.
people who are the most loud and
Mm.
most visible and more vocal,
Yeah.
usually the aggressive behavior
Mm.
kind of people. That's one of those cases where you have somebody who's passive, who also has some kind of toxic impact on the
Mm-hmm.
environment, on the immediate system, which is the team. And, I recognize that because I had a really hard time
Mm-hmm.
with delivery, especially negative feedback. And that's why I think I got so obsessed with feedback, so
Oh,
obsessed that I actually had to
you know
build
what I
a
like
whole
about this
course.
question? You know what I really like about this question? Feedback, good or bad. We
Exactly.
need we need a feedback.
Exactly. So first of all, we think about, but that's the scary part for me, because I dove deeper into it, because when I created my course, I
Mm,
really dove deep to see, okay, so, and started with the positive one,
mm.
because typically people cringe when they hear the word feedback. And it's like, oh, let me give you some feedback. And like
Like,
99%,
because they are expecting the bad
yes,
news, not the
exactly.
good news.
Because that's a habit. That's what
Yeah,
we created
yeah.
for the system. So let's be clear about it. We all contributed to what the system is now feeding us. Like,
Mm,
systems are created by people before system get to impact people's behavior. Like,
mm.
we come in, and the way we think about it, can we do something about it, or can
Yeah,
we not do something about it? So we
yeah.
created this system where people just roll their eyes when they hear, let me give you some feedback. It's like,
Yeah,
oh my God, what now?
I
It's
know.
like,
I know. Yeah, you're
right?
right.
That's it. So, first of all, look at it from two perspectives,
Okay.
especially if you're a manager.
Mm,
How often are we giving people positive feedback
mm-hmm.
about behavior, not about you're awesome and amazing? If you start with you are, just know that that's not feedback.
Mm-mm. No,
It's not,
you have to
because it's not
separate.
behavior. It's
Yeah,
behavior
the
is what you
person.
do or what you say.
You're right.
Behavior is what we see. It's the tip of
Mm,
the iceberg, right? So what did they do that was great? What did they say that was great? That is, and think about positive feedback
mm-hmm.
as behavior that you want to see repeated.
Yeah,
What are they doing that is helpful, that you want them to repeat? And by the way,
mm,
that's great for kids too. Like, if you
I know.
tell
Oh,
kids, oh,
yeah.
I love it when you're washing dishes because you wash them so well, and there's it's so
Mm,
helpful, and they'll be like, oh, I want to do more of that.
yeah, yeah.
uh,
Right.
it
No,
works.
that's the
It
impact,
works.
right? Good or
That is
bad. But
feedback.
you have to show what's that's the feedback. You show the impact
Exactly.
that person actually has making
Yeah,
it
exactly. So that's
in their
first of all,
behavior or what they do.
exactly. So what do you want them to keep doing?
Exactly. Yeah.
Or what would it be more beneficial if they changed, or if they improved? So that's the negative feedback or the
Mm,
constructive feedback. But
yeah.
you're actually helping them. Like, you're
Mm,
helping them understand, okay, this is what I've noticed you're doing, and this is a better way to do it. How about you try
yeah.
this? And that is very helpful, rather than avoid the conversation altogether
Oh yeah.
and just let it pile up, let the frustration pile up, and then at some point one day you just burst and say, you never do it right. And it's like, and the person is
Yeah,
just looking at you as if
I
like,
know.
if you're, oh,
I know. No.
where is it coming from?
Yeah.
So but one thing that you can do, because, and this is another thing that I'm seeing, especially from, if you're a more junior person reporting to your manager and you think they're a manager, they should know what they're doing. Well, your manager is also a human
A
being.
human, yeah.
uh, what we know, plenty of managers are being promoted to people management positions before they are ever
Mm-hmm.
being trained or coached on how to actually manage people and how to
Yeah.
actually lead people. So if you see that they don't do something that you would need them to do
Mm-hmm.
so that you can perform well in your job, to
Yeah.
your earlier point, Felicia,
I know.
ask for it.
Yeah.
Let them
Yeah.
know, look, I would really, it would be really helpful for me
Mm-hmm.
to know what I'm doing well
Yeah.
and where I can improve.
Yeah.
And if you can be even more specific with your ask, that would be really helpful,
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes all people need to give you feedback is for you to ask for it.
Mm-hmm.
And especially, again, if that person values the relationship and the harmony in the relationship with you, and they're not as direct as you would
Mm-hmm.
want them to
I
be,
know.
ask for their feedback. And it
Yeah.
would really help me to know what I can do better in this project. Or
Yeah.
I drafted this report. What did I do well? Where can I improve? What do you think? What's your opinion? And that
Mm-hmm.
helps
Yeah.
facilitate, you become the facilitator of that
Mm-hmm.
conversation.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's all you need, but don't just let it linger,
Mm-hmm.
because especially that you noticed it,
Yeah.
and especially that you also noticed that you need it.
Absolutely. No, I agree. I just have my input is the way you start your feedback. You start with the why question. I don't know. Every time
Yeah,
when you see somebody asking you, why did you do that? Why is not
because
a way.
guess why?
To me, it's
Because
more like, can you help me understand what you had in mind when you did that? Or like, I mean, because maybe there is a logic, right? Maybe it's
Mhm.
not working for the project or for the company or for the team, but maybe there is a logic in that person mind or head or whatever. So I always ask, so what do you have in mind? Or stuff like that. Also, the meeting or the feedback can be like in 2 minutes. So like you don't have to have like formal meeting. You can just
Oh
2
no,
minutes, even on the
don't
hallway.
wait
It
for
can be
formal.
check in.
Mm-mm.
So how are you doing? How is the project going? Or stuff like that. And then you can ask questions and can be even like a half through the final the project is done. You don't want to wait until the end because you don't want that person to continue to make mistakes. So check in, it's good. And this is, you can give a feedback while you are doing it. You don't have to name the meeting, I want to give you a feedback. No, I'm just
Exactly.
checking in. I'm just
Yeah.
checking in. And then
Yeah.
can I give you my input? Or like you said, maybe the word feedback is a little bit like, but can I give you my input? Or this is how I
Mhm.
see things. And then you can ask other people's opinion if it's like a team project or other people involved in
Yeah.
that project. It's always a brainstorm. I mean, you as a manager can be wrong also. Like I said, we are all human beings, we might be wrong. And
Yeah.
if we don't fail, we don't grow and we don't create. So we need people to fail, we need people to make mistakes, we need people to learn from their mistakes, and then come up with even better ideas, like more geniuses ideas.
Exactly. And just like, and what I love about it is just like, make it a dialogue. It's not, because again,
That's very
the
important.
reason why
Yes,
people
yes.
cringe is because it's usually a monologue. Oh, no, 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 you're never doing this. And no, make it a dialogue. This is what I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I think you can do better. What do you think? What's
Mm-hmm.
your perspective?
Yes.
What's a different take? How can we look at this differently? And then
Sure.
you spend 10 minutes or
Mm,
30 minutes talking about something,
yeah.
and you end up wasting less time and being more effective, more
Mm,
productive, just because you had this conversation. Because one other thing is, I don't have time for this. I don't have time for
mm,
feedback. To your point, oh, make it a formal, because feedback typically is only at
yeah.
performance review time. Performance review time, and all of the managers are like, oh, no,
And what's worse
I
is
don't need this
once a
now.
year. That's the worst performance review. Instead, like every week or every day, 2 minutes every
Exactly. No,
day.
like,
Performance review. Yeah.
no, you can have, like,
Mm,
we're all working together every single
mm-hmm.
day. So if you see that something, you see me doing something that's
Yeah.
helpful, that's good, let me know, so I know
Indeed.
that I can keep at it. If you see me
Absolutely.
doing something that I can do better, you think I can do better, let me know and ask me, okay, what do you think about it? Or how would you go about it? And we can have this conversation,
Yeah.
because we're realigning and we're tweaking as we go. Otherwise,
Mm,
and that's great, because that's how we can look at
yeah.
what's the reason why we're still doing this like that, and what's a better
Mm,
way. Is it a better way? Is it really
yeah.
working for us or not?
Yeah.
And if not, then what can we do to make it work better? It's like, it's, and we talk about agile so much these days,
Mm,
and we keep talking about it, but like, that's one way of
it is.
actually being agile
I
in your
know.
day to day.
Yeah. But like this situation, I mean, there's no feedback, bad or good or bad. That tells me the manager is afraid. He's not even sure. He's afraid to make any comments, or he's afraid to give any advice, or or confrontate, because it can be confrontation, right? If you give feedback, some people are not taking the feedback. Most of the people, let's be
Oh
realistic.
yeah,
Most of the people, they
yeah,
don't
yeah.
take bad feedback, bad criticism too well. It's a skill we need to learn. I'm still learning, but yeah, it's a skill to take criticism. It's a
Hmm.
skill.
Yeah,
So maybe it can be the case. The manager
but
is not sure about her or about himself, and he's
for
better
sure.
off not to say anything,
But
to
that's
not
why,
embarrass himself or herself.
and it's true, and I recognize this. Like, I
Yeah,
was that manager who
yeah,
was really reluctant in giving, especially
yeah,
negative feedback.
yeah.
I was that manager at some point, and I
Oh,
know it's hard.
okay.
But I know what was helping me is where people were asking me for my
Asking.
feedback, and that
That's
was
something.
more
Yeah.
comfortable. That's where,
Mm,
and because they were asking, and I was
mm,
never rude, or, but
mhm. But you made
because
it
they were
think.
asking,
Yeah.
that made my intentions when
Mm,
giving them feedback even better. I wanted to help because they were asking for that.
mm,
And another thing that helped me is to ask for feedback. Like
mhm,
that, just that simple habit of asking for feedback. There's
mhm.
no way you're going to become more comfortable with feedback unless you get more of it. And
Absolutely.
the best way, the fastest way to get more feedback is to
Mm,
ask for more feedback.
yeah.
And it's like, and because one other way is, when you ask for it,
Mm,
people are not going to deliver it as bad as they would if they were piling frustrations
yeah.
up.
Yeah.
So
Mm,
you're also helping them deliver the feedback in a way that that comes from best intentions. I'm going
absolutely.
to
Yeah.
give you the feedback because you asked for it, and I'm not going to be mad and angry and rude about it.
I know. And maybe explain a little bit more so people can see where you're coming from.
Yeah,
Because if you
yeah.
just provide feedback, but you're like, okay, but then if you can explain a little bit why this feedback, and how I came up with this um, uh, feedback, whatever, maybe we can take it, like you said, a little bit more, we'll be more open
Hmm.
to discuss. We
Hmm.
will be more open to discuss.
Yeah.
It's just like, huh, this is my feedback. No, this is not good. Or yeah, this is good. But what's good? What's the good? What's the bad? You know what I mean?
And it brings clarity, and it brings clarity for
Clarity,
you, it brings clarity for the
clarity.
manager,
Yeah.
and it's not just clarity, it's like a sense of relief. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
And I said, and it's a way to detox
Yeah.
that tension in the relationship. It's like, oh, now that we talked about it, it feels
Mm.
good. It actually feels good. But
Okay.
somebody has to actually start the conversation. So
Well,
don't
this is
wait
why
for.
but this is why we have leaders, right? I mean,
Yes, but that's one thing. It's like we think that leaders should do this, and that, and we have no agency. And I
yes.
say we do. We
Okay.
forget that it's there. So
Mm-hmm.
don't wait for your manager.
To
If
ask
you see that they're
or
not
provide, yeah.
doing something that you need them to do
Mm-hmm.
so that you
They say, okay,
perform, ask for it.
you're
Don't
right.
wait for them to do it.
Yeah.
You can ask for it because it's your, at the end of the day,
Mm.
the results you're getting are going to
Mm.
be your responsibility.
Yeah, because you
And
want to be good in your job.
yeah, exactly.
Also, you
So
don't want to just live in a,
yeah,
bubble and think everything is okay, it's great, but
when it's not, when you know
it's
it's
not.
kind of eating at you, you know.
Okay, we have another question. Oh my God, it's been 40 minutes. Oh my God.
I
When I
know,
talk to
right?
you, I
Right.
swear, it's like
And I
the
think
time just
like we're
flies, just
starting
flies.
to become boring. I don't know. Like, people, come on, comment, ask us more questions, or
No, I
give
don't.
us your
I don't
thoughts.
see any comments. I do not see, and I was actually
But
hoping we can get some comments, but
yeah,
nope.
anyway, at any point in time that you get to see this, we would love to hear your thoughts,
Oh yeah,
questions, comments, insights,
and we
because
want
that's how we can
real.
detox together better.
Yeah, and real scenarios.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like we need like people are experiencing like
Uh, oh,
things.
I see Jonathan. Hey, Jonathan, thanks for commenting. Yeah, great
Okay.
point. Ask. Yeah, ask.
Okay, so you might have some question on your LinkedIn profile, maybe, or page.
Yep, I think maybe on my, yeah, because by the way, I'm checking. That was my phone earlier, which created the
Okay,
noise.
don't
So
worry, because
that's
we
where
need
I
the
see the
phones.
comment. Yeah.
I will read the next question until we have somebody
Yes.
else. In my company, everyone acts nice in meetings, but after the meeting, the real talk starts. Whispers, frustration, things people don't feel safe saying out loud. I know you're smiling.
So good. So
It's
good.
like there's a hidden version of every conversation. I want to speak up, but I'm scared it will backfire. How do you deal with this kind of culture? I know you're smiling. Wow, thank you for being brave enough to share this because it's often we see those meetings, right? So you've just described something a lot of people feel but don't know how to say it. I see this all the time in the companies I work with. In meetings, everybody smiling or nodding, saying, yes, makes sense. But what happens 5 minutes later? The private chats?
Yeah.
That's never going to work. I didn't want to say anything in front of the manager. Sounds familiar to you because I think so. Now, this isn't about people being fake. It's about people not feeling safe
Mhm.
to be real. And that doesn't happen because of one person. It happens because of the system rewards being agreeable, not being honest. Again, we are talking about
Mhm.
systems.
Mhm. Mhm.
When people don't see their input leading to change, or when someone got in trouble, right? Because we have our own experience or we have somebody else's experience for speaking up. The last time silence become the safer choice. We say, hey, I better say nothing. So here's what I suggest. If you are ready, try something soft but honest. Something like, I have a slightly different thought. Can I share it? So, in the meeting? Or if you see tension in the group, because we can read the room, right? We can see like people are not quite happy. They're saying that don't they're saying nothing, but still you can read the room. And you can say something like, I heard a few people unsure. Maybe we can talk that through. This doesn't attack anyone. It's just open the door. And this is what we want. We want to open a door, a conversation. If speaking in groups feels too risky, and sometimes, yeah, can feel that way, you can start like one-on-one conversation. Build a little team of yourself, where you feel safe. And then talk to someone you trust. We all have like our coworkers we trust, and we can start conversation. And you can say something like, I want to speak up more, but I'm not sure how it will go. What do you think? You're tasting the waters instead of like just going to the meeting and say,
Mhm.
well, I mean, I would do it. I would say, hey, can I have my input? And for leaders, if you want to ask, um, sorry, for leaders, I want to ask, do your system create space for feedback, again, feedback, or just decision? Because feedback happens all the time, not just like even in the meetings, we need feedbacks, right? Are the meetings designed for agreement or discussion?
Yeah.
If nobody challenge you, that's a big question, because
And
probably
that's
nobody's hearing the whole truth. But the good news is you can fix that by how you respond to somebody who finally does,
And
right?
I wanted to say, because we do have a few comments, and thanks, Jonathan, for joining the
Actually,
conversation.
I see a comment here.
That is, yeah, like,
Ha!
yeah,
We have a comment.
that's a very, very good point.
Yeah.
That you will have a formal and an informal leader,
Mm,
and plenty of times. But again, like, and Jonathan also made a comment. Of course, dictatorships are different, and I think when we, especially
I've been
when we
seeing your
talk about
comments.
businesses, we kind of don't want to see a dictatorship there, but sometimes it might feel like, and especially
Mm,
you and I, Felicia, we grew up in a
I know.
dictatorship,
We
so we
we
know how that feels. And
inside
it's
and out.
so, like, no, you don't want to be that person who disagrees, who stands out, who,
Mm,
no, because that is life threatening. Like, literally, in a dictatorship, that's a life and death situation.
mm,
Now, at work, where you have the informal leader of not, because I've seen this situation too, where the formal leader might be actually asking for input and for different kinds of
I know.
opinions, but you would have an informal leader in the room who would be sabotaging that, and
Yeah.
who would be like, nah,
Yeah.
and people would follow that informal leader and say, well, I choose not to, because then I end up working with this guy or with
Mm,
this lady, and
mm,
I don't want them to pick on me.
yeah.
um so, and but one of the ways to do it is just like, it's form, again, go for what are your one-on-one relationships in
Mm,
that system.
yeah.
Who can you count on? And you can say something like, well, I noticed that we're not really asking questions. What's a way in which we can actually ask questions without ruffling feathers? And you get some input from people who've been
Mm,
inside that system for longer, and
yeah.
perhaps make them think, oh, we're not asking questions, maybe we should. So you're helping them rethink, and especially if you're new, you have that opportunity because you're new, and people are not going to think that you want to, that you have something against them. They're going to assume that you're asking because you're new. So
I
it
know.
is, there's an opportunity there. But like, I feel like when we talk about psychological safety, that comes from how well we're able to build trust
Mm-hmm.
at the level of our one-on-one relationships. The more one-on-one trust building relationships I can have,
Mm-hmm.
the higher the level of psychological safety at the group level, the team level will
Absolutely.
be. Because
Yes.
if we trust each other separately,
Mm-hmm.
the psychological safety in that team will be higher.
I know.
So start with what you can. It's like sometimes we just look at and we blame it on culture a lot.
It's so
But
easy
here's
to
an
blame, right?
yeah, like, but here's an example where doing nothing is as toxic as
Mm,
being the bully.
absolutely. Yeah.
So like, and there's like, again, don't look at the culture as this huge mountain that
Mm,
you cannot climb. Like, look at separate steps, separate pieces of the system, the are in your immediate proximity? Who can you connect with? Who can you talk to so that you increase and you expand your bubble and your influence? It's not about, sometimes it just
Yeah,
action. It's
I
action.
know.
If you
I
do
know.
nothing, you can't expect a different result. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we see on LinkedIn so many posts regarding meetings. Meetings are a waste of time, and I agree, unless you have a conversation in a meeting. If you are like that situation when people are just nodding and say, "Yeah, makes sense,"
Mhm.
but they are not quite agreeing, yes, that's waste of time. But if you have a conversation, it's a constructive conversation, and we have like something at the end of the meeting to look forward to build or to create, then that not a waste of of time for the meeting. So
Yeah, that's another thing. Like,
mhm,
and you can say, and I love it when, for example, we finish the meeting 10 minutes, 5 minutes earlier,
mhm.
and and somebody says, "Oh, we get 5 minutes back." Oh,
Such a
it
good
feels so
feeling.
good. It feels so good. And it's like, and that's where,
Yeah,
and you see
yeah,
people coming in the meeting, and they
and
contribute, and they want to make it
mhm,
work. They want to make it efficient.
absolutely, yeah.
And if there is any chance of getting a couple minutes back, even better.
Maybe we can have a topic
Yeah.
on meetings,
Mm-hmm.
because as I said, we are seeing so many LinkedIn. It's with a lot of postings, and one it was a toxicity of in the workplace.
Yeah.
But again, it's not like I don't like pointing the finger, and I know sometimes it's the case. We see it, but sometimes we can correct it without being, sarcastic or pointing the finger. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes it's both parties. They their fault. It's not just one person's fault.
No, because it's a relationship. It's a,
Yeah,
we
like
don't work in
yeah,
isolation, right?
yeah.
So when we collaborate, that's a work relationship,
I
and a
know,
relationship
I
is
know,
is never just one person's responsibility.
I know.
And I think that what I've seen, the risk with everything that's being said
Mm,
about what the leaders are responsible and accountable for and what they
mm,
need to do. I agree. If you're a leader, that's a huge responsibility. At the same time, people know that that's a huge responsibility. And maybe that's another topic for our
it is.
conversation,
It is.
where
Yeah.
I see less people who want to be people leaders
Mm,
before they feel ready.
mm-hmm.
That's the thing, because they know there's a huge responsibility. At the same time, we cannot expect that one person doesn't says everything and knows everything all the time, and they're this almost like this guru. That's I
Mm-hmm.
think the risk with what we're talking
I
about
know.
when we talk about leadership. We talk about somebody who's almost like omnipotent and omnipresent, and it's like this guru who knows, and they take care of me, and they can manage, and it no.
Mm-mm.
I think because that means that nobody else but the leaders is responsible and
Mm,
accountable. And
yes,
that's simply not true.
it's
Like,
not.
we're all there for a reason. We all want to be recognized and valued for what we're bringing to the table.
Absolutely, yeah.
So we cannot expect that the leader brings everything to the table. And we
Mm-mm.
actually had a conversation with somebody in a coaching session. He's like, imagine, so you're the leader, and your specialty, if you're a chef, your specialty is one kind of dish, and this is your contribution to the table.
Yeah.
But other people on your team,
Mm.
they are hired, they are in your team because
Mm-hmm.
their specialty in what they cook
Mm-hmm.
is different than yours. You don't
Absolutely.
all cook the same thing.
Yeah.
And
No,
they all
I
bring their specialty to
exactly. Yeah.
that same table.
Yeah.
I think the more we think about it this way, before we're leaders and as team members,
Mm.
that's actually our chance of contributing to leadership. It's not just about one leader, it's about when can I take the lead? Because if we're
Mm-hmm.
gonna cook for appetizers this day, and that's my specialty. I'm going to take the lead.
Exactly. Can be the lead for that specific.
Yeah,
Yeah. Now, see, we have a topic for the
we
next
have a
time.
topic.
We have at
So
least one
with
topic.
no toxic food. So I'm not allowed to cook toxic food.
No
Like,
toxic food.
that's the rule.
Yeah, anyway, it was a great conversation. And thank you, Jonathan.
Yes,
Maybe
thank
we
you
have
so
more people,
much.
we don't see them. But anyway, whomever was here and um, took the
But
time to be with us today, we really appreciate. And we hope, we both hope we provided some valuable information. What we are looking for feedback as well.
yes, exactly.
Let us
Give
know.
us feedback in
Well,
the
what do you think?
comments.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Any
let's
question, any
continue.
comments,
Yeah,
anything, like just let us know how are we doing. We start something and we'll
yeah.
see.
And what topics you want us
And
to bring
also,
next time? Because we
yes,
have
yes,
an
yes, yes,
idea, but
absolutely.
what's a topic that stands out for you? Like that's
Mm,
really critical for you to talk about. Let
yeah,
us know, and we'll talk about it.
absolutely. Okay. I'm looking forward for the next discussion, Roxana. And
Take
yeah.
care. Thanks,
Oh,
Felicia.
and happy Easter because the Easter is
Yeah,
around the
to
corner. And
everyone.
happy Easter
Yeah,
to everyone.
who
And
celebrates, absolutely happy
yeah,
Easter.
and we